Welcome to sequence number 4. If you haven't already taken a look at the tree pose tutorial, go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, join me in a standing position right in the middle of your mat. You're going to go ahead and step one foot forward and the other foot back. Doesn't matter which one you do right now. We'll do the other side a little bit later. Make sure that your knee is directly over your front ankle. Your back heel is lifted and your back knee is pushing straight back, straightening that back leg. The last thing you want to focus on is your belly button. Pull that belly button in towards your spine, tightening up those abs. And just with that little motion, you might feel a gentle stretch in front of your back hip. That means you're doing this position correctly. From here, we're going to take a deep breath in, raise your hands up above us. And as we breathe out, we'll lower our hands and lower our back knee as far as we can go. We might even shake a little bit here because this is a pretty hard position. Take a deep breath in, raise our hands up above us, pressing that back knee back behind us. And breathe out, lower our hands and lower that back knee towards the ground, hovering at just a couple inches above the ground if you can get that low. From here, instead of going back up to standing, we're going to push off our back leg up to a single leg balance position. I'm going to turn just to show you a little bit better view of that. From our single leg balance, hands on our hips to make sure our hips are nice and level. We'll bring the bottom of our foot to the inside of our calf for tree pose. Or if this is easy and you're a little bit more flexible, you can help bring the bottom of your foot up to your inner thigh. Either way, we're making sure our shoulder is in line with our hips, knee and ankle on one side. Our hips are nice and straight across, and then we're not leaning too far over one way or the other way. You can put one hand on your knee to gently rotate that knee out, but make sure your hips stay pointed straight forward. From this position, you're going to come back into your balance pose. I'll show you from the other position again. From your balance pose, we're going to slowly bring our leg all the way back behind us, back to our high lunge. From our high lunge, we want to slowly lower our back knee all the way to the ground this time. You may want a folded up towel or blanket under your back knee for a little bit of extra padding here. In this position, we want to tuck our belly button in towards our spine and then push both of our hips forward just slightly. You should feel a gentle stretch in the front of your back hip. That means you're doing it correctly. Next, we're going to come back to that neutral position. And instead of pushing forward, we want to push our hips all the way back and kind of scooch our toes forward a little bit to get as close to a straight leg as possible here. Notice that my body is still pretty straight up and down. This is called our half splits position. If you can get your leg all the way straight, that's great. If not, stay with a nice big bend in your knee. Pull your toes up to the sky. And keeping your head, neck, and chest in a nice straight line, try to pull your hip back as you gently lean forward. This should produce a pretty intense stretch in the back of your knee, but it should never be painful, so make sure to stop wherever you're getting a good stretch here. If you're more flexible, you may be able to straighten your knee and reach towards the floor, but I don't want you to hunch down and reach towards the floor like this. It kind of defeats the purpose of the stretch. So stay nice and high and support your hands on your thigh if you need to. Try pointing and flexing your toes to feel the difference it creates in the stretch behind your knee. Then come back up to our neutral position. Let's try to flow back and forth between these two poses a little bit. Walk forward with your hips, keeping your belly button in and feeling a nice stretch in the front of your back hip. And then draw your hips back behind you, keeping your neck and your torso on one line and bending over the front of that hip. One more time, push our hips forward. Feeling that stretch in the front of our hip when we suck our belly button in. And then pushing our hips back, keeping our torso nice and upright and just leaning over that front hip. Strong stretch in the back of our knee. Let's try that on the other side. Come to your standing position. Put your other leg in front of you and our back leg back. Never have your knee in front of your toes, and push that knee of your back leg out behind you. From here, take a deep breath in, bring your hands over your head. As you breathe out, lower the knee towards the ground. As far as you can go, doesn't have to be very far. Take a deep breath in as you straighten that back leg back out. And as you breathe out, lower that knee down to the floor. Once again, from here, instead of coming back up to our lunge, we're going to shoot from our back leg up towards our one leg balance position. From our one leg balance, have your hands on your hips to make sure they're staying level. You can come to tree pose with your foot on your calf. Rotating your knee out away from the center of your body. Or you can use your hand to bring your foot up to your thigh if you're flexible. And bring your hands out for balance if you'd like. Keep them in towards your center for more of a challenge. Try to pay attention to whether or not you're keeping your hips level. You should not have one hip hiked up or dropping down above the other. It's okay if you wobble in this position. Work out with your balance. We're going to bring that foot back down to your one leg balance pose. And we're going to shoot it slowly back in with control to our high lunge position. From here, we're going to lower that back knee down, using our blanket again if you used it on the first side for some extra padding. Remember, we're taking our belly button and pulling it in towards our spine, so we're tightening up those abs and pushing our hips forward until we feel a gentle stretch in the front of the hip on our back leg. From here, we're going to push our hips all the way back to our half split position. We might wiggle our toes forward a little bit. Keep our torso nice and upright and our toes pointed towards the sky. Lean over with our neck and torso in one straight line, only as far as until you feel a gentle stretch behind your knee. One other thing to do here, instead of playing with the pointing and flexing of your toes, is to alternate between squeezing your thigh really tight, nice straight leg, and then relaxing to a bent knee and pulling your heel back towards your butt for a couple seconds. Alternating between those two can help trick your body into getting flexible even a little bit faster and pull your heel back towards your butt. Try it on the other side next time you do the sequence. From our half splits, we're going to come back to our neutral position. And then we're going to just flow between the two a little bit, pushing our hips forward until we feel that gentle stretch. Your knee might come a little bit over your toes here, but just a little bit. And then back into our half split. Nice straight spine. And push our hips forward. And draw our hips back. Great. For our last exercise, we're going to come to a seated position on our mat. We're going to have our knees bent, feet planted in front of us, and our hands planted back behind us. I almost want to shift some of our weight into our hands with a slight little bend in our elbows. In this position, once again, we're going to suck our belly button really strongly into our spine, almost like we're wrapping our ribs around towards our belly button. It's extra important for this move. Once we're in this stable position, lean back slightly into your hands as you lift your feet a couple inches off the ground. If this is easy, you can lift your shins parallel to the ground, and we're going to hold here for 10 seconds. as you do this more and more, you may eventually be able to straighten your legs out a little bit more. But never, and you never want to straighten your legs out too much so that you lose that nice tuck in your belly button. A couple more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax. When you're doing this motion here, you never really want to release your belly button and get a sway in your back. Always keep that belly button nice and tucked. Let's try it again. Leaning back into our hands a little bit, slight little bend in our elbows, tuck our belly button in nice and strong, lift our feet off the mat, and then raise our shins parallel with the ground. If this is really easy, we can gently extend our legs and bring them back in. Extend your legs, bring them in. A little bit of shaking is okay. That means you're engaging your abs. We're going to hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest.